you, members of the board. I stand here tonight as a parent who is deeply concerned, not just about the recent letter from Superintendent Sprague, but about the bigger issue it represents, student safety. That must be our #1 focus, and anything less is unacceptable. When it comes to mandated reporting, the process should be clear, accessible, and free from intimidation. Teachers and staff must know exactly what steps to take if they see or suspect abuse. More importantly, they need reassurance that when they do come forward, they will be protected, not singled out, discredited, or silenced. We must create a culture where if you see something, say something is not just a slogan, but a practice backed by training, audits, and accountability. Parents are not dumb. We are paying attention, and we see the contrast between what the district tells us and what surfaces in public record and social media. We don't need to be detectives. The lawsuits are public, and in those filings, the district's own legal response, including the disturbing claim that a 4-year-old child bore responsibility for their own abuse, is not only appalling, it directly contradicts the trust parents place in this district. Instead of reassuring parents and laying out concrete safety measures, Mrs. Sprague's letter does the opposite. It deflects blame. It leaves parents questioning whether our children are truly being protected and whether those tasked with mandated reporting will feel safe to do their jobs without retaliation. What we need are audits of the reporting process, transparent updates to parents, and concrete steps that ensure teachers and mandated reporters can act without fear. Only then can we begin rebuilding the trust that has been broken. Because at the end of the day, student safety isn't just one priority, it's the priority. Thank you.
Next, I have 2 non-agenda items for 5 minutes with Ana de los Santos and Zanae Burton. Regarding cultural inclusion in schools and culturally responsive education materials and access.
Good evening, members of the board, educators, and community members. My name is Ana de los Santos. I am the current PTA president at Great Hope Elementary. I've had 2 students go through Etiwanda School District and currently have 1 enrolled. I also have Zanae Burton here with me. I'm here today to raise a concern that goes beyond a single incident. It reflects a broader issue of cultural misunderstanding and the need for respectful dialogue in our schools. Recently, the presence of an ofrenda, a traditional altar used during Dias de los Muertos, set up in our school library as part of a cultural education initiative, has sparked controversy. One parent has labeled it demonic and inappropriate for school. I want to address this directly, not with confrontation, but with clarity. This ofrenda is a cultural tradition rooted in remembrance, family, and honoring loved ones who have passed. It teaches empathy, respect for heritage, and understanding the traditions that many of our students and families hold dear. Schools are meant to be a place of learning and inclusion, and it includes learning about diverse cultures in a way that is respectful. Just as we teach about holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Lunar New Year, Kwanzaa, and Diwali, we must also be willing to explore and celebrate Latin American traditions that are just as meaningful and educational. What's concerning is not just the misunderstanding, but the ease with which culturally significant traditions are being labeled as demonic or evil, without seeking to understand them. This type of rhetoric can create an unsafe environment for students and families from marginalized communities. It also risks sending a message for our students that their heritage is something to be feared or silenced. I urge the board and our community to stand firmly in support of culturally responsive education and to encourage open dialogue instead of fear-based reactions. If we want to raise thoughtful, compassionate, and globally aware students, we must be willing to engage with different perspectives, not reject them out of fear or misinformation. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to a school environment where all students feel seen, valued, and respected.
Yes, I'm a Great Glen parent. I'm on the PTA, and it has been an honor to be and serve our school. And, you know, we had an incident, and I'm deeply affected. And I represent a lot of us parents. And we just, again, want to be able to be safe, learn each other's cultures, because that is another reason why I love being at Great Glen. We are diversified. Our PTA is diversified, and we respect every single culture. And it should not be isolated, one specific culture be isolated. So I stand here to support my school and my PTA. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next, non-agenda item, 2 items for 5 minutes. Des Alvarez regarding traumatic experience and unethical psychologist.
In July, I met with a Terra Vista mom. She told me her child was locked in a dark bathroom at school. She said the door was broken. Her child was unable to open the door, and eventually the light turned off. She doesn't know how long her child was in that bathroom. Her child didn't tell her about the incident until a year and a half later. She confronted the principal and asked her why she didn't inform her. She says the principal responded by saying she had fixed the light and door and it was already handled. Her child is terrified of the bathroom, and the principal was very bothered with her child. She said she thinks the principal doesn't like her, and she believes the principal called CPS on her twice in retaliation. She was going to come with me to the August meeting, but her children got sick, and then not long after she decided she just didn't trust the principal around her kids, and so she removed her children from that school. Your psychologist evaluated my son while he was medicated, manipulated his records, and hid the final draft for me. The evidence is undeniable, but you denied my appeal, permanently damaged his record, and still employ the psychologist so she can harm other children. And since you left this unethical psychologist in my school, it's not hard to believe that you knew the Terra Vista allegations are true and let the abuser stay in the classroom and further abuse children. I believe Ms. Jensen is a woman of integrity and is telling the truth about what happened at Terra Vista. She would never lie about kids being abused. She protects children, and she's the exact type of teacher I want working with my kids. There's a lot of gossip about this case, and I have access to her Dropbox, and I have reviewed a lot of evidence. It really shows the facts. Most of the evidence was created by your staff. And in my opinion, the evidence shows that ESD retaliated against her for making a mandatory report. I have heard many negative things stated about Ms. Jensen in an effort to discredit her. I've heard she just wants attention. It's not true. I remember speaking at these meetings every month, and she would sit in the back wearing sunglasses. She asked me to help her find reporters who would print the story, but keep her name anonymous. I told her there was no way any reporter would ever touch this case without using her name. I spent months urging her to be more vocal. I think this case has been mishandled, and ESD culture is partially to blame. I think ESD operates off a caste system. Certificated staff are at the top, and classified staff are at the bottom. Although there are many wonderful teachers who love and support our aides and ECEs, there are also some who mistreat them. Ms. Jensen worked for this district for years and was promoted several times. There have been claims that she moved around a lot because she was a problem. ESD always moves people around, and you went from cluster sites to having clouds at every school. Your staff and the parents loved her, but the second she made a mandatory report against the teacher, she became the enemy. Ms. Nielsen said that the principal told her that Ms. Jensen was just a dumb ECE. The alleged abuser was a first-year teacher. She had only been with this district for a few months before abuse allegations surfaced. But she was a teacher, and Ms. Jensen was an ECE. It looks like the principal immediately sided with the teacher and created a highly toxic and retaliatory environment for Ms. Jensen. Your staff always does this. If ECEs or aides advocate for children or themselves, other employees will make a hostile environment until they leave. I feel this district immediately sided with the principal without considering that Ms. Jensen had been a long-time and celebrated employee, and the alleged abuser had only been with the district a few months. I don't believe this administration ever considered that the allegations might be true. It appears the goal was always to cover this up. The district and police failed to ask parents to speak with their children and see if there might be other victims. You only sent out a letter to say the allegations were false. You didn't seem to care if there were other victims, and I think you hoped other victims wouldn't come forward. At one point, one board member stated that the investigation was over when crimes against children still had an open case. Your legal response blames the families for the abuse. I don't know who advised you to take this stance, but I don't believe it sounds wise. After Diego Stoltz died, MVUSD's attorneys blamed Diego and his family for his murder. The public was furious. People pulled their kids because the district was basically saying that they are not responsible for students' safety at school. That school board fired the attorneys. They knew that blaming Diego for his own murder had serious consequences, and if you have any desire to preserve this district, I strongly urge you to find a different strategy. The damage is unknown and will take years to recover from. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public here tonight to speak on any agenda items? Non-agenda items, excuse me. Okay, thank you. Public comment on non-agenda items is now closed. Superintendent's report, if you could please follow up with Ms. Ana de los Santos and Zanae Burton. You or someone from your staff to respond to the comments.
You know, before we move on, I do want to speak to some of the concerns that we heard tonight. I understand why people are alarmed by the language and the answer to the lawsuit that was widely shared online. If I saw those words without the full context, I would be concerned too. The language was written by attorneys. You are correct. And the standard legal wording is to preserve every possible defense in a lawsuit. However, this lawsuit involves a range of claims, and the legal response addresses them all together. When lines are read in isolation, they can easily be misunderstood. I want to be very clear. The Etiwanda School District does not and would never position that a child is responsible for their own abuse. That is a false claim. I also want to let people know that we annually train every employee on child abuse and mandatory reporting. We all take that responsibility seriously, and we have reported every incident of what we would consider abuse or maltreatment of a child or an employee. Any other questions?
And I know there's, just to reiterate, law enforcement was contacted and
Yes, they would.
they independently.
I shared that in the
looked into this.
letter. That law
I just wanna
enforcement was
reaffirm.
contacted by us. It was escalated up to crimes against children just to make sure that every stone was turned, every student was interviewed, every adult that was involved was interviewed. Excuse me.
Excuse me,
This
the
is
public
not a town hall.
comment is over now. This is a board meeting. The public is invited, but this is our board meeting. Thank you.
If someone had perpetrated an abuse, they would have been arrested. These are specialized law enforcement units who did a full investigation and found no criminal charges. If there was an instance of abuse, someone would be arrested. No one was arrested. Excuse me, you may not speak now.
This is your warning. Please do not interrupt our meeting. Thank you. Okay, before we move into closed session, are there any board or staff comments or suggested items for discussion at upcoming meetings?
Just a general comment, Mr. President, just that it's important for us as adults to be able to engage in meaningful conversation, whether we agree or disagree on issues, and to follow facts. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, but those who really are well-intended in doing the right thing for students and staff will follow the facts where they lead them without a preconceived notion of where they want them to go.
Thank you for those comments, Member Gordon. Just like to mention a couple of items a couple of school sites that I visited. Solorio's 25-year anniversary, wonderful. Love to see those families and community really come out and support Solorio Elementary School, as well as last night at the summit,
Yes.
Intermediate band performance. So I just want to highlight those wonderful events. Okay. So the board will now go into closed session regarding items A through C. The time is 8:51.
You want another one? No, it's like something. No, because you know we're sitting right under the. I'm gonna send it to you.